back to Whitt Acres. Today we are going to be cleaning up my vegetable garden. I have new plans for the vegetable garden for next year, so I got to get it all cleaned out so I can get the fence pulled out and redone. If you're new here, I'm Cody, that's Echo Puppy, and we're gardening here on 4 acres. This is my family home and I'm working on turning it into a fully planted out paradise and bringing in as many animals and fish as I can. Come along with me as we learn, work, and live in nature every day. I picked up this blue barrel from a friend, and I'm going to be using this in my DIY koi pond. If you're interested in the koi pond build, I'll be posting all those videos here, and anything to do with the fish and life of the fish, I'll be posting on the Whitt Acres Aquatics channel. So make sure you're subscribed to both so you can see all the content coming out. Oh, my wheelbarrow's not even in here. Puppy, where'd I leave the wheelbarrow? Huh? Alright, found her. So I have this 120-foot squash mound that worked pretty well for me this last season. And I used all these water jugs here to water the seedlings as they were young, but it didn't actually work the way I wanted to. So I have to pull all 33 or so of these cut jugs. It's a nice little funnel system. I figured I could plug it into the ground and it would slow feed some water into the saplings, but they just kind of got plugged up with clay and then didn't really work real well. So we're just going to get these all out of here because I have a different plan for this squash mound. And this whole mound might be moving. So let's pull these jugs, get something else done. I got all the jugs picked up and all the planter tags that I could see across there. I know it doesn't seem like much just picking up some plastic bottles, but not seeing those every morning and after work whenever I come home to take Echo for a walk, I walk right past the squash mound, and to not see those sitting there anymore, that's just the weight off my shoulders. So nice, let's go to do something else. I also have these bread trays in my main vegetable garden area here in the pumpkin patch, and that's so I don't pack down the soil as I'm walking in there tending to the plants. But it's time I need to get those pulled out of there so I can go in and weed the whole area out nice and clean. Up, up. And we got her all cleaned out. Pup was helping the whole time. We got her all done. Got a big pile of debris over there in the corner that's not going into the compost because it has a ton of weed seeds in it, and my compost doesn't get very hot, so it's not going in my compost. It just gets piled up in a corner and it'll compost over years and years. Sun's starting to go down. Now it's all cleaned out. You can see my drip system laid in here that I had for the vegetable garden and the pumpkin patch. I'm thinking of doing something different next year. I still want to keep this whole area as my pumpkin patch, and during the beginning of the season I can use some of the area because the pumpkin takes a little bit to grow waiting for the warm weather. And then this side here I had tomatoes, peppers, and squash, and I actually had plenty of that, so I'll be able to do that again next year. But what I want to do is move this fence to the other side of my raised beds. I want to have this whole garden area here and all the raised beds and the wood chips fenced in, so my puppy and all his friends don't have access to any of the garden at all. I'd like to also come along this back side all the way around along the corn and get that fenced in and have the whole garden area fenced in. But I'm going to see how far this row of fencing will go that I have, and then we'll figure it out from there. My fence is just poultry netting on step-in posts, so it's not going to really keep anything out if they really want to get in here, but my dogs just need a little bit of a deterrent. They're pretty good, they just need a little bit of guidance to keep them out of the garden. So I'm going to get this pulled out, start shaping it around the asparagus bed here. That's what that is, nice tall asparagus shoots. I'm going to get that shaped out around, and then get this whole section pulled up, and we'll start changing up this garden. So this right here, if you can see it, is 4x4 square fencing on 3 metal posts I have pounded into the ground. That is what I use to trellis my tomatoes and cucumbers and even eggplant this year. But this post is too close to this hemlock tree. The puppy fits back there, but I don't really fit. I got to duck underneath the hemlock tree to get back to my compost. So what I need to do is open up this walking path a little bit. So I'm gonna have to move this post in, I don't know, at least 2 feet, maybe 3, so I can then bring my fence all the way in. Probably keep it 3 feet from the asparagus bed right there, so I can still get in there and work all sides of that bed. So yeah, so I need to pull this post out and move it down. So I need to cut all the zip ties and bend all the wire off of this so I can move this fence out, pull that post out, and then get this fence into the position I want it. Alright, so I can't get this post out. I tried. I don't know if you can hear it. but there's a lot of water in the bottom of that hole, so it's doing a suction thing and it's even harder to get out. So I'm done with it. I'll come back to that later when I have more energy and more daylight. I do want to get this out of here. This is my mesh little frost cover I used in the spring and left out here to get destroyed. I'm going to pull that out, get it all cleaned up so I have it in storage for next year. Unpop. You can see here I took the fence around the asparagus bed with plenty of room to work here still. I made the corner there, and then I brought it around the weeping cedar to over here, because if you've been watching, you know I want to expand the garden over here, which is going to be from this marigold roughly. I'm going to bring this curve straight out to over there to that redbud tree. So this fence is going to come out to here, and then I'm going to put some type of entry, some gate or archway, something here. So stay tuned for that. Figure that out later. And then after the gate, the fence will continue to down here and out this little edge here. I want to frame in this whole squash mound area, if you can see what I'm gesturing, and then make this a nice little sun border garden here. I have it cut just so I can kind of get an eye for it, of a raised bed going right there. No box or anything, but I'll probably just pile up a bunch of 8-inch compost and then plant dahlias or other sun border plants in there for color. But then all my garden bed will be fenced in. I have this rest of the roll, and that's what I want to use for there after the gate, but I also need to fence in the backside along the cornfield, because that's really where all the animals come from, the deer and the wild animals. And all I have over here right now is this little 2-foot fence. It's not really doing anything. I watched a rabbit jump right over that, so it wasn't really doing anything, but it's there. It held up my peas in the early season. That's what all this is. I was all volunteer peas, so it held those up as a trellis. But yeah, I want to move this squash mound in. This whole squash mound, I'm going to shift it in and then get this whole property line fenced off eventually. We'll see. Smash that like button and I might be able to get to do that at some point. Looks like Echo Puppy was digging while I was over there weeding the garden. Puppy, what's this? What's this? Were you digging in my garden? Echo, were you digging in my garden? You being a bad boy, weren't you? Yeah, he knows what he was doing. Making a hole. Puppy, silly boy. That's going to be all for today. I think we got a lot done, a lot of progress. The whole place is cleaned up in there, and I got some fences switched around. Got that back one started along the back side there, but there's a lot of weeding to do over there yet, so I don't want to actually put the fence through there until I get the area cleaned up. Around the back side I might put a gate by the little opening by the compost, but we'll get to that later once we're getting closer to season. I just wanted to get all of this cleaned up so it's more of a blank slate. So every time I walk by until gardening season comes back, I can start planning some more and get a better idea of what I'm going to be doing next year. Let me know down below if you got your gardens cleaned up for the winter and what position they're sitting at. Make sure you hit that like button before you go. If you haven't already, please do subscribe down below. Check out our other channels in the description so you can get all the content coming from Whitt Acres. You can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching. I think he knows when I'm signing off now. He's ready to go.